Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8 o'clock and welcome to the Laughing Lamp. I am your host, Jin of the Lamp, and I'm going to attempt to be, as always, your innermost fear, your inner fear. Claim to be your inner fear because I think we all have a fear inside of all of us, afraid to share it, the truth of it, and we never discuss it because it's taboo. The subject of a taboo. But then again, that is in accordance with, I suppose, how we are raised in communication and how we communicate amongst ourselves, how we communicate amongst our own families, and perhaps how we communicate with the general public. But communication is the key. It's the key to what? It's the key to infinity, perhaps. I don't know. I believe it is the key to everything because everything starts with the basics, communicating what you need to get done, even by means of communicating to yourself. I don't know. That's just a crazy idea. It's just the crazy mind speaking crazy things. Sure, habibati. Oh, no. Intro today was a little bit of Arabic metal. Shukran. That was the name of the band, Shukran. They're from Egypt. So an interesting place for it to come out with some Arabic music. I figured I'd consider heavy metal to be taboo in the Middle Eastern culture, but it's not. It may be taboo in the Islamic culture. They're not Arabs. Like, to each their own. To each their own. That's what I call a small thing of communication because the differences in dialect truly does mean a big thing. For example, I grew up with the language of Arabic in the home. And I grew up to a certain dialect of this Arabic because I would hear Arabic from other households being spoken. And some words were different. Most of the sentences were put together the same, but there were some words that were used differently. Or some words that I haven't heard, but meant the same word that I learned in a different way. For example, This is probably my favorite story because it happened in the kitchen. Dinner was ready and everything was good to go, and we needed utensils. Now, let's see. For me, in my dialect that I grew up to, just to start the basis of the story, a fork is called, for me, a shoke. Shoke. Okay. So one day my dad says, "Hey, Bob." "Yeah, Dad." "Would you go in the kitchen and get me a furteke?" I said, "Excuse me? Get me a furteke, please." "What's a furteke?" "I never heard this word in my life." "Furteke? Oh, you never heard? That's right, because we don't speak the book language." This is what politicians speak. It's called a book language version, a formal education version of the language of Arabic. It's a rooted version of the language. So the root word is furteke. How the hell furteke becomes a shoke? Well, ask your dialect people how they came up with the words that they have for certain things. I know he taught me a word for ashtray as well. When again, I grew up with the word nufada, and I don't know, I forgot what the other dialected word was, but that was another word he tried to introduce after that mess with my head kind of situation. Give me a furteke. What the heck's a furteke? I never heard that in my life. "Oh, a fork, kiddo. Give me a shoke." You know what a shoke is, right? "Oh, you didn't just say shoke, man? That's the one I know." Anyway, what I know. Now, those are, I guess, honest confusion mistakes because, again, it's a rooted word of the same thing. Now, for example, when that fork, that's hard because really the first post, I'm just going to bring it on up because I don't know how you can confuse anything in the wordplay for a whole different thing. Now, I know we do it ourselves somewhere, somebody. And I know we also have a friend that has done it. And like, how the hell did you think of this subject when I was definitely harping on this subject? Okay, so the post. Let's start off with that. Greetings, everybody, to the Laughing Lamp. Jesus. Okay, this was maybe also 11 years ago, and I'll get in depth of the story now that I'm going to start getting back into these things. This is maybe 11 years ago. I forget exactly the time frame, but this came up as a memory stone on my Facebook, and I forgot the timestamp that it said. I'm going to say 11 years ago, give or take. It was quite a while. It was my first civilian job. I was a wheelchair pusher for discharges and rehabilitation centers and things like that. And I was on lunch break, so I pulled up to the closest thing by me at the time, and I had just dropped off at Kessler. I think it's in Lodi or Hackensack, but it's off of Market Street. So they said, "Go ahead, take your lunch in the area." So I drove on up Market Street and I went to McDonald's. And at the time, they had the Angus mushroom and Swiss sandwich. I don't know. Okay. So for those of you who read the post, you kind of know where this is going. So I'm going to go ahead and read this post, and then we'll go from there. So I pulled up to the drive-through window and I said, "Hi, can I get an Angus mushroom and Swiss?" And the fucking idiot on the other side says, "Sorry, man, that doesn't come with American cheese." And I said, "Dude, neither does $15 for your hour, for your position." And I just drove off. I didn't even bother getting lunch there. The joke for me, well, I mean, if you didn't get your own kind of joke out of it, your own chuckle or no chuckle, I don't care. To each their own, right? At the end of the day, to each their own for everything. I didn't specify a change of cheese. I specifically asked for the sandwich directly. This is the same people. This is in New Jersey. These are the same people in California now and in other parts of the states during that time, that era. So you guys think that this $15 an hour wage minimum is semi brand new and they've pushed up minimum wage if they even have. See, I don't even follow this shit. But this war of increased minimum wage has been going on for quite some time. So needless to say, I immediately said, "You guys are the ones begging for this $15 an hour bare minimum wage, you illegal immigrant hiring motherfucking cocksuckers. But hey, excuse-moi, you are what you are." A news report says that Florida State DeSantis is actually trying to combat this. But you'd have to combat quite a few temp agencies that hire these kinds of people seasonal time. You can't fight them all. You can't win them all. They're going to make it over. And those that make it over are going to qualify for free fucking benefits thanks to their temp job here, and they're going to get ADD medication and other antipsychotic medications, and they're going to continue to spread the amphetamines through the workforce. Did I just blow a hole in somebody's head? Hey, this is the truth. I've worked there. I've been there. I've seen it, and I've done it. I've worked with New York standard of it up north, and I've worked with the down here Florida motherfucking cocksucking criminal runaway type down here. Go ahead, change my words. I have been there, and I have seen that, and this is the way I'm going to describe these things in these places. New Jersey is what it is. Brings on a lot of New York bullshit. Florida brings everybody in. and most of them have to stay. Okay. So yeah, I'll take an Angus mushroom and Swiss. And he goes, sorry, man, that doesn't come with American cheese. And I said, dude, I need $15 an hour for your position. You want $15 an hour, but you are high off your fucking Adderall. You are high off your other medications, Oxycontin and all that other crap, and whatever else that you may or may not have been prescribed in the first place. And you're at the workforce and you barely do your shit sober the days that you do show up. Matter of fact, the days that you're sober, you don't want to be at work. It's a hell of a day to be there without your shit. I guess because your job is cake. Why does a cake job need $15 an hour bare minimum wage? Anyway, but I understand we all need cost of living. You see, there's another argument to everything. So attack me, don't attack me, on my side, don't on my side, correct my side, don't correct my side. It don't matter. It don't matter. There is a positive and negative fight to everything. The people asking for it, I say, don't deserve it. But if the correct type of people were to ask for it, I bet you the argument goes in the favor of the argument. You see how things work? The correct person and people fight the argument, any argument. It will correctly be won in the correct favor. But if you kind of look like ass, bag of ass, even if you tuck your shirt in or not, it don't matter, I guess. So people judge by that perception, and they judge by the mentality and how the words are worded during public speeches and how momentum is gained through the private speeches. And then you get attacked or you get on board with, and you get the donations or you don't get the support, and so on and so forth. Anyway, ain't that how life really works? And that's a true fucking story. And I swear to God, I know the job that I worked, I was not making $15 an hour at the time. And even during the public outcry of increased minimum wage, I still thought that my job specifically did not deserve the full 15. For example, my job specifically perhaps only required $13.50 out of that. For me to receive that $15, see, let's go up now. I get another dollar raise, or if you want to call it a 50-cent raise. See, go up to $14 now. Or we could bypass 15 in a whole different manner. So let's do it in the way that I would like to do it. So $13.50, you get, let's slice that slightly in half to a degree. So you take $2.50 out of that for being just a wheelchair pusher, certified type of person. I get $15 an hour if I were to pursue further in that career department to become an EMT, which is qualified to do wheelchair discharges and stretcher discharges and do more. $15 an hour. Next step is typically paramedic. Nurses and doctors we can push, but from an EMT type of field, being in a truck type of vehicle and doing the job that's necessary for the public service, paramedic would technically be next, I suppose. That should, in essence, be like the master's degree to, you see? And bypass that 15 now, the livable wage standards. Prior to that is the educational phase where you only deserve bare minimum. Most likely you're rooming with your own family still. You're not left out of your house. You're still too young, and your home life is to some degree good enough for you to stay at home. Okay, see, these are all examples and theories and things you have to potentially imagine for that perfect world idea to come to fruition to anybody's reality. Otherwise, it's a fantasy to everybody. You can't speak for me, man. You don't know my life. You don't live the style I do. You don't rebel the way I do. You don't force the lifestyle that I do on myself. You see, all those things could be reworded too as well. So let's put that way. You say that your life took a turn downhill and with turmoil. But I also believe that at the end of the day, the options provided to you after those situations, you did not take advantage of. But I could understand that, being young and ununderstanding really of reality itself to a degree. Even if we understand reality, we don't understand it to the point of where really I'm going to learn and gain knowledge from anymore. I lost, for example, some very important people, and I was forced to be raised by other people. Yeah, but those other people, whether they're bad people or good people, have something to teach you. And unfortunately, most of us go through that negative teaching lifestyle. Whether it comes from the next step, I also believe that we force the negativity from that next step. So to each their own on their behavioral, to each their own. Let's put it that way. Everybody has their own experience of everything they've gone through. And I still believe that no matter what positive or negative and good or bad situation you ended up in anyway, or you made out of it anyway, it was and was going to be what you wanted it to be, but we were too young to understand how to make things how we want it to be. We don't believe we have control. That's a mentality, I guess, that we don't understand till we get older anyway, and we grow up and we progress the mind. The mind becomes a bit more stable to a degree, and God knows how that gets there for most of us. I know those of us I can't say I know, but I do believe that most of us with truly negative and horrific backgrounds that we still don't discuss have been medicated to the degree where the effects still hit us today. This is where I'm going to get. These posts are going to lead up to my experiences of current things to a degree. Which is why I joked on the whole prescription and amphetamine thing. Y'all have been awakened, have you not? Oh, the human claw. These lovely two fingers. An idea that I was going to introduce. You ever notice that interesting muscle control after an accidental dosage of something you probably shouldn't have taken one weekend? Nobody realizes what the awakening was. They just realize that one day they have control of their bodies and shit like that, or their mind is focused more than usual. Giddy, 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 giddy. It's a lasting effect of something, the awakener pill, or the awakener chemistry substance, let's put it that way. And I don't just call it the awakener because it does awaken you to a certain degree. Yes, I call it an awakening. But I believe it put a clock, a ticking time bomb, if you will, on my heart, literally to a degree, where the random spasms of energy that burst for hours at a time are overticking my heart. So I will die young. And I have a number. I haven't shared this much with you, but I told you I was kind of a man of numbers to a degree. But there's a number 55 where my numbers seem to cut off. And I can't seem to figure out for the life of me if that number 55 was my death age number or the number in which something of mine dies. Something ends. And I tried to put 2 and 2 together. Didn't work out. So I broke it down to 1 and 1. And I came with 2 conclusions. I either will die at 55 or the laughing lamp will continue until I'm 55. Interesting way to look at things. You see, I kind of correlated that with somebody who said, on video 10, if I'm not mistaken, exactly, that I would say that some people say that failure would be video number 10, and I would say that failure is 10 years of making bad videos. I'm putting in the extra word bad, but 10 years of making videos is what I believe I said. But 10 years of making even bad videos or unwatched videos, it don't matter. But it could be looked at how you want it to be. Because it only is the last video if you truly believed in what everybody else had to say about you stopping, you quitting, you shutting up, or you were not good enough, or you yourself see the numbers that you were looking for and they were not meeting your standards. So you lost your faith, you gave up hope, and you tried to move on from the idea. You ever try to do that with something you really had faith in and you hated the idea that you had to move on with it, but it was such a good idea in your head that you still think about it no matter what you try to do with your life? Yeah, the lamp is kind of like that for me. Success or failure, people watch, people don't. People visit, people don't. Whatever it is. I feel the need to publicly vent out my frustrations every week. And I feel the need to post something silly every day. And then talk about it and make fun of it on the lamp. Relate it to my own metaphors. I am a metaphor. Life. I'm a meta. A meta for what? A meta for life. It's all metaphors. It's all wordplay. It's all trickery. I'm a jinn, I'm a genie, according to the little kid. Well, needless to say, I've been playing with words since I could remember. Wordplay. I also, that's how I like to say, I fight with my mind. I don't fight with my fists. I've gotten into 2. That's it. I'm 32 years old. I've gotten into 2 physical confrontations. Confrontations I believe were necessary to get physical with. Stories perhaps for another time. Let's move on to the next post, shall we? Get this show on the road to some degree. I think we just related that the stupidity behind the Angus mushroom and Swiss. Well, let's repeat that real quick. Hi, I'll take an Angus mushroom and Swiss. Sorry, that doesn't come with American cheese. Neither does $15 an hour for your position. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Nana, come here, baby. Come here. Come say hi to everybody. Come on. Come on, baby. Nalila. Lali Nana. Her name is Nala. Kind of like from Lion King. She's my Tootsie Wootsie. My Cutesy Pootsy. And every other cutesy wootsy name that you can think of for a kitty kitty. You see, Nani Nani. Come here, Nana. Nana. Okay, she's not gonna come or she's gonna come. Doesn't matter. I guess it was a joke that mob movies used to throw in there especially the Catholic versions, because Irish people would do it too in all kinds of movies like this. I would never do that to the mother of my children. She kisses them goodnight with that mouth of hers. Okay. But your neighbor just graduated to motherfucker. Now, nobody likes to think about this, right? Why we don't like a cheating partner. Ready? I know what I do with you, so I know what you'll let someone else do. And 'cause they're a stranger to you, I gonna do as they please with you. I could imagine someone else on you, especially if you show me a picture of them. Because I know how you are with me, I can imagine somebody else with you. I don't like to imagine that. No one does. So while you have that hooker blowing on you, your wife is blowing the breeze. That's a Sopranos joke. No, I know people from past friendships and relationships, people who have literally done that to their partners, and to the degree where I've even heard the argument, man, why don't you go ahead and enjoy your wife? No, she's the mother of my children, dude. I could never do that to her. I can't look at her the same anymore. I cannot envision that. That'd be rude. And that the contradictory baloney of that statement. Malaysia, I bet you still wants excuse me, let me repeat that. I bet you she still wants to be manhandled the way y'all used to manhandle each other. And if anything, through the comfort levels of that relationship, it actually turns into something you always end up watching on the weekends, you nasty fucking perverted sick fuck. But the reality of what relationships turn into because of the sexual craze, the sexual fantasy that the whole world seems to be stuck on, that it's that important to this day. It is so important. That's why most of our girls don't have their virginities by the time you meet them. Whoops. I'm just enlightening a conversation. I can't help but to lean towards that subject. So I would never do that to the mother of my children. And your neighbor just graduated to motherfucker. What you think now? Maybe when you used to use your current wife, your current baby mama, as a toy back in the days when things were good. And you couldn't do that anymore because she's got to kiss the child goodnight now. Well, your neighbor knows that too, and he don't care who kisses the child goodnight, and he's going to do what y'all used to do. And she's still going to kiss the kids goodnight. Dun, 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 dun. And then y'all raise your children the same fucking way. And y'all teach them duck faces, and y'all teach them shit that are nothing but sexual innuendos. And you could look at it and see it, don't see it, make fun of it. No, it's so innocent. Perhaps. Then why are we throwing lawsuits at potential videos that show a cover picture of certain things? No, I'm not against it. You got to go after that. That is sick shit. It is sick sicko shit. I understand that. But if you can see sick sicko shit in media released subjects, you should be able to relate the sick sicko shit in privately released subjects. But because it's such an innocence that these children have, oh my God, there's no innocence. Y'all ruined their innocence the first time you accidentally slipped a curse word in front of them. Y'all ruined their innocence when you realize that they have ears just as good as yours were when you were children, and you heard every argument in the house, and you heard every discussion in the house when you were told to be in a different room. Yeah, we forget these things. We forget that we were kids once too, and we have kids one day, and we wonder why. And we wonder why well, they are just like you. They are not going to change. And they're going to mimic things that you do currently as the adult that you are, presented to them at the current age of their learning development. Interesting wordplay. So I would never do that to the mother of my children. Well, I would. It's called toothpaste. It's called mouthwash. And then all of a sudden you have certain women that actually have jokes for the reasons that they can still do what they want to do sexually in performance standards and still kiss their children goodnight. And then you have the other standards in which only the male seems to be the one saying, I would never do that to the mother of my children because of it. But that mother is probably waiting for you to come slam her face like you used to. The jokes, the nasty fucking sexual perverted jokes. What the hell is wrong with you, Jin, today? Nothing. It's the same me. I just decided that it's video number 15. I'm more and more comfortable at this point. I'm going to speak, I don't know, as comfortably as I can. The better I get at it. It's kind of like talking to a new partner after dating for a little while now. The conversations start to expand every dinner date, every breakfast date, every road trip or weekend plan that you have. And then it turns into a live-in routine that again, like I said, you can't hide it anymore. Those doctor's appointments and shit that you canceled before, they can't cancel anymore. What happened to all those things? At the time, I had the freedom not to see you. You see how the mentality thinks? Alrighty. Next post, ladies and gentlemen. Learn from experience and learn from history. It's always what we seem to be, and history repeats itself. We don't seem to be taking any of this shit into seriousness because we think we're molding the future here. You're continuing the past. You're no different from the cliches of the past that continue today. Meaning, instead of creating a new open door future type of idea, or creating a new world future, or this realistic fantasy of yours turning into some form of reality, what you ended up doing was doing the past. The past said the same thing y'all were saying today, and it seems like they didn't change either, and we just kept the no change trend. Wrong trend, wrong train, wrong boat. I don't know. It's just what I tend to see. It's my perception of this reality. You hear a lot of shit. Diggy, 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 like me. Diggy, 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 diggy. You hear a lot of shit. We don't see a lot of shit. We see a lot of the talking. There's the difference on the perception value there. Hold on. Whoa. I do see y'all yelling, grouping, and rioting, but I don't see y'all positively influencing the situation. Whoops. From your experience, have you tended to mold yourself in the next relationship? And then from that experience, should it go awry, you mold yourself a different way, a new protective barrier to a degree that they have to break down now in order for them to be okay for date number 2. We set standards for date number 1 standards. We revitalize the idea of what it's going to take for you to win a date number 2. And then we revitalize the idea of what it's going to take for me to reveal my nudity to you, or whatever it's going to take in that next step to you. We learn from those experiences. So who's to say we're not learning from every job's experience, every client's experience, every drive's experience, every red lights experience, every braking experience, every hitting the gas experience, every shifting gears experience. Everything has an experience. A new experience in twisting the bottle top of this bottle, and a new experience of sucking it down. Put it in your mouth a different way. Oh, you sick fucks. You sick fucks. But it's because, I guess, of that guilty wordplay, we can't seem to see the innocence of it anymore, or we'll joke on the guilty to get it out of the way, to let you know that I'm on board with your train, but I am also very serious. You fake motherfucking two-faced piece of shit. I'm in a good mood. Like I said, a little bit more comfortable now doing videos in front of a camera. So I figured I'd expand more on the character behaviors, perceptual values, emphasis statements. Interesting. I bring that up, emphasis on statements or words, and how you word things in your wordplay. We were watching Free Willy today. You all remember that movie, 90s kids? Free Willy 1 and 2 we watched. We didn't get to number 3, and I think that's the one with the whalers. Well, if we get there, we get there. But they taught, to a degree, very important values of communication and how trust is gained and earned, even from negative children. Okay. There's a lot of values in those movies that you could actually learn from. You just have to nitpick the scene and play with the wording they gave you back then. The childhood understanding we had of it, the imaginations that we had with us and the whales, because we didn't pay attention to the movie anymore. We just started imagining ourselves with whales our own way, right? It was our own whale experience jumping over our head over them rocks. And we were driving the truck with somebody. Yeah. But the movie had its own point. And we got older. We rewatched it because of our own children reasons or for our own nostalgic reasons, and we understood a line of dialogue or we caught something in the background scenery that we would not have noticed as children. So the understanding of that filmography turned into something totally different, did it not? Yeah. It's not just an imagination anymore. And then you realize based on a true story. Okay, just examples. So the next post happened to be a Veterans Day post, and I posted some photos that I had taken while I was in the Navy. Deployment photos, the airplane photo with my name on there when I was a plane captain, which was a surprise to me. So see, I wanted to bring in my TAD stories because I had to go through TAD, which is temporary active duty, which means you are still with the squadron, but they've detached you and put you in the kitchen, in the toilet room, wherever. You do have a whole different job. Every day your job is something different than being a mechanic or being what your job is supposed to be in the Navy. It's a temporary assignment. You get it? And I was TAD on our first test deployment run and our second test deployment run, and 3 extra months, 2 months. I can't remember if it was that I did 3 months all over again. They said you were supposed to do 3 months total, 90 days. And I know I did 90 days, or 60 days at least on the first 2 debts. And I did more than a month on deployment. So I'll say at least 2 months, 2.5 months of extra TAD duty on the boat. And I worked in Wardroom 3, which is the officer hall, one of 3 officer halls of dining where the officers ate. Yeah, so we had ice cream, and I was the trash guy in the wardroom. I started off in the chief's mess on the boat. I started off in the chief's mess. I was quickly transferred over to Wardroom 3, and I stayed in Wardroom 3. And from being a plate picker-upper type of fucking shit, I ended up being trash duty, which was, oh my God, free roam. As a smoker, I would take trash out every fucking 5-10 minutes and go have a cigarette while I'm out there and then go back. Now, here's a funny story, TAD on the boat. This is on deployment. And I forgot what holiday or something or another we were celebrating, but the wardroom got, I don't have it. Got choice of shirts, collared shirts to wear of Hawaiian design value. And I found a black one with yellow yellow pineapples and yellow leaves and stuff like that on it. It's in the closet, but kiddo's sleeping and I'm not going to wake her up. And I wore that with the blue and gray camouflage pants on the boat. So there was no tuck-in uniform. That was our uniform of the day, legally worn, legally, it is what it is, Navy standards. So this is the fun we get to have on the boat, but we're not going to do that on civilian land property and show civilian life, that side of the camaraderie, I suppose, I guess, because it is taboo. It's not a real uniform. But for that day, the uniform of the day, Wardroom 3 was allowed to look and act in such a manner. And this stuff does get passed down. But the funny thing is being caught in the hallway regardless, because they are going to test your response to shipmate. Huh? Why are you mate? Oh, this is what I was told twice. Once by a chief and once by a fucking enlisted E5. Shipmate, yeah. Oh, yes, chief. Are you making a mockery of the uniform? No, chief. This is Wardroom 3's uniform of the day. Properly answered, properly responded. Oh, very well. Carry on. Then I got stopped by an E5. E5s, I don't know if they got the pass down or not, but I know the khakis get the pass down. Khakis E7 or above. Anybody who transforms Navy-wise, you transform your uniform from, I want to call it normal sailor shit, into the khakis plus, which is officer club, chief club type shit. E7 and above club. Breakfast club. Yeah, that's what we used to call them, because they make their own little group cliche of fucking people. Salty motherfuckers. Salty coded conversation session number 15. I keep forgetting to introduce these things. I'm going to get the commercialization factor right at some point. I hope. Okay, so I posted those photos. And I said the saying that came with it. And for any military member, they understand the 3 positions. Okay, at ease, attention, and parade rest. Well, I used to be at ease. And then I paid attention. And now I can't parade rest for my life. I can't ignore the realities my eyes perceive and the way my brain metaphors the scenario to understand what the fuck I just saw, what the fuck I just heard, what the fuck is going on here. I can't relate this to anything else but a certain scene on a movie, so this has got to be fake. And that's where you disassemble reality from fantasy. That's unfortunate, because those fantasy things that we're told not to believe have reality-based ideology behind it. Some other sicko that you were able to finally see on television thanks to the media acceptance of certain activities, the taboo becoming untabooed, but only through Hollywood. Okay, you amphetamine motherfucking frogs, leapfrog motherfuckers. Amp up. Lay off your fucking amphetamines. Learn from history, from example, Hitler stories, and learn from the genetic pass down of your ADD children that seem to have problems related to psychiatry that only nobody can really understand. You dumb fuck, you put that in your children. And I'm gonna stick by that side. You don't need amphetamines. You don't need focus anything. You're not going to outsmart anybody. But you are going to use that in your secret organizations to awaken individuals to your sexual fucking fantasies, because it turns on your fucking body. Oh my God, go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves. And thank my felonious friend for any of the information I have on this shit. They used to be just thoughts, wrong in my head, bullshit fantasy crap. Then I met who I met, and through them I met other people. And those other people have shared confirmations. And I never seek confirmations from those who just tell me what it is. I have to seek it from outside sources by playing with words, manipulating stories to gain their attention to the story and either adding to or correcting facts. Who do I get these from? The people. Who are you bumping into daily? Who are these people? What is your job already? I'm not going to tell you any of that, but the people I bump into are experienced elderly individuals who are the only people I seem to be able to relate to. The ones who finally admit their old days of speed freaking, by the way. So get the fuck out of here with 1960s, 1970s. Y'all were all fucked up. And y'all bred the next step. The baby boomers, the amphetamine sexual craze. I guess you regret having 8 to 9 fucking kids and teaching the ideology that they need to have 6 to 7, 8, 9 kids themselves. You fucking sick fucking sexual freaks. But hey, to each their own. To each their own. Y'all are just horn dogs and couldn't figure out why. I survived the war. It must be the reason why I'm high. You're high because they gave you amphetamines and that shit don't go away for the rest of your life. And I bet you y'all had a heart-related death. Does your family have a history of heart-related diseases? As a matter of fact, amphetamine genetics. But that's just my theory. It's my ideology. It's the Laughing Lamp's bullshit conspiracies. Okay. And you can think about it all you like, and then maybe you'll confirm it yourselves. For those of us who took a little bit of too much Ritalin, too much Adderall, and had to calm down by drinking a whole lot of booze and smoke a whole lot of weed. You see the legalization factor of alcohol again from prohibition? Do you see the legalization factor that I'm against in marijuana, Mary Jane? I don't. I used to like the whole natural ideology of a lot of shit. And then I realized the legalization factor may just happen to tie into these interesting, stupid fantasy fucking conspiracies, huh? I guess. But as far as I'm concerned, they needed to release a depression all over again, a depressant in order to control people. Hence opioid craze and alcoholism. Go fuck yourselves. Y'all don't want to make those connections. Y'all can't see those connections and y'all want to refute those connections. But sororities and fraternities and other secret societies all understand those connections and use and abuse them in their business dealings, in their corporate dealings, in their own Knights of the Round meetings that you are not a part of. And when there is one going on that you should be involved in, for some reason, you're not allowed in the office at this appropriate time. Needless to say, it's because you're not part of the breakfast club. You're not one of them. You didn't prick your blood. You didn't get one in the ass. You didn't suck one when you were supposed to. You didn't do a favor when you were necessary. True story. You really want to know? Then do this to your kiddo with proof. Yeah. Where does the story come from? And her father. Sick fucking world. Will they ever admit it? No, it's a public quiet. Shut the fuck up. And you're never supposed to know. And this is just a liar. You ever catch people at a conversation, at a subject, and then oopsie daisy, they spilled out just a little too much information that related to the supposed lie that the liar said was the lie? Oops, you accidentally, silently, potentially confirmed something you were trying to deny. You're not a good liar. You're not a good storyteller. You're a big flaw con artist that made it this far. I don't know how you made it this far, but then people look at me and says, how the hell did you make it any kind of far? You fucking outcast rebel? Yeah, I know. We could look at each other the same way. How you got there, how I got there. I don't know. I'm still here. You're still here. Huh? I don't know. Okay. Well, I can't rest anymore. I paid too much attention. I thought too fucking much. And that whole at ease of my life, hey, no bubble no more. That bubble popped and reality has been stinging my ass ever since. And I've been corking every motherfucking feeling into a bottle for so fucking long that miss open your fucking mouth finally. Let it out little by little. Go ahead. And because of letting it out to her one-on-one, face-to-face, I decided, oh shit. The name of the lamp had come up through conversation, the idea behind what I'd like to do for it, and then here we are today. Video number 15 of me bullshitting and mocking humanity, wordplay, speeches, and everything that we fucking do in life. Speaking of taboo subjects in taboo forms and taboo ways, and not afraid to expose taboo ideas. The idea is the unity of the taboo. It's either hidden away unity or exposed unity. Well, this shouldn't exist unity. Taboo should just be a normal day-to-day coffee conversation of, do you know, do you think, is it possible that the neighbor down the street could potentially be? How about the cop who drives every day? He's always by this neighborhood and he likes to deal with the kids all the time. Taboo. Just a good man. He was really interested in the children. And plus, he's the fucking basketball coach on the side. How many times your basketball coach play with you sexually? Oh, get the fuck out of here. How many times your basketball coach recommend you to some Winnie Veep fucking products and you end up on steroids as a teenager? How many times has your physical education coaches recommend some psychiatric medication and you end up on bullshit? How many times have your parents been this close to the school that you end up getting fucked up on shit, not realizing what it is? Okay. Y'all don't see those connections. Private school, Catholic school, privatized bullshit motherfuckers. Y'all end up being truly mafia kids amongst mafia kids and other Jewish kids and everybody else that has those secret society type of lives. Conspiracies, I know. Stop talking, Jin. That's enough. You've spoken too much shit out of your ass today. Well, this asshole ain't done talking. There's quite a few things that can be said about the way we are educated, what schools we go to, how they're done, personal philosophy, thanks to other broadcasters that speak through their experiences through Catholic schools and private schools. Okay. So I just put 1 and 1 together and came up with my version of 2. And I'm walking my road and putting learning blocks as far as I'm concerned on each one. Because I'm not just going off on the idea that, oh, it has to be this way. I end up seeing it that way because I have made my personal own Tito, to each their own connection, on this mathematical equation. And this 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. And I got my 11. So the road that I'm walking on, as far as I'm concerned, I'm always prepared for the stupidity cliche that I learned of humanity. And I have yet to be denied this confirmation. I can deal with any human. You're all cliches. Y'all act the same greeting. Y'all act the same body of a conversation. And y'all leave either quickly or no quickly. Y'all do the same fucking shit. I had mentioned before once a college papers type of thing. With don't speak the way you write, don't write the way you speak. But what about police officers and medical specialists and doctors? They have to write the way they speak because if it's not documented properly, they're liable for lawsuit and they're liable to lose cases. So again, we're taught one thing in the spectrum and we do other ways of the spectrum, but we realize both ideologies of the spectrum and we try to live the life of unity. But unity tells us that in this corporation, we don't do united here. You do it our way here. Now I'll try over here. We don't unite things here. We do it our way. Red, blue, go fuck yourselves, go fuck yourselves. Same fucking concept. It's that small of an idea, that small of a concept. But nobody wants to make those connections because the picture isn't there when they connect the dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Final post, because this is going to end here. I'm going to make this a short video as far as I'm concerned. Okay. My brain monitors choice of words. In any conversation you have with me, from the way you greet, the way you look, the voice that you... So pardon my understanding. Through human interactions that I've gone with, through all sources of etiquettes, handshaking, and other baloney and bullshit, I have cliched humanity in my head to a degree. So again, pardon my understanding of your body language, pardon my understanding of the words you used during the body languages you used, things of that nature. PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I suppose most American children were educated in the mathematical department of learning the order of operations, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Did I get that right? Not bad from a first go. PEMDAS. But I said it, hold on. Let me make it my own way of remembering it, because I don't have a dear Aunt Sally. That's what I guess we used to say. Well, I got older and I realized if I put the correct words in there, not only could I remember it easier, but it makes more sense. Please excuse my dumbass stupidity. Please excuse my dumbass stupidity. What's the order of operations now? I don't know, dumbass. Don't be stupid. You get it? Okay. I don't know. To each their own understanding of how they remembered the order of operations back in the day. And that goes through anything that we learned, that chaotic piece of information that we tend to normalize for ourselves. And every time we hear PEMDAS, some of us can't help but chuckle, and other people don't get it. That's because I'm thinking of my dumbass stupidity. Well, you're probably thinking of your dear Aunt Sally. What the fuck? To each their own. To each their own. Again, we all have our own comedic value when we see something funny. We all have our own chuckle to it, our own variety and degree of laughing, our own variety and degree of anger, sadness, and tearfall and cheered. We have our own degrees of how we feel about every situation. Another story I brought up once before in the past is the two families that witness a stabbing, and one child gets taken care of a certain way in light of it, and the other child gets taken care of a whole different manner in light of the situation. Well, both kids can now futurely see that stabbing and tell the story, and both children will be futurely affected differently to different degrees of bleeding wounds and stabbings in general. That's just the way it works. I was going to try, or that was back on the first post. So let me see if I can still do it. No, I was not with her, so I could not have done it. I was going to finally bring up my very first pretty much relationship, my ex-fiance, to this degree, but it actually had no relation at the time. Well, I guess learn from experience and learn from history. Actually, let's go to that one. I was at one point, okay, here we go. It was at one point during that relationship where I got my first piece of enlightening information that required confirmation, but I never really got it until I moved here. So it took quite a long time. I'd say 15 years. We'll say 15 years. So she's off. She has a psychiatrist appointment that day. And interestingly enough, her parents had told me, if you're interested, you can go ahead and join her for a session and we'll pay for it. So don't worry about it. And I'm like, huh. They wanted me psychologically analyzed. They wanted to figure out the fakery of who I am, I guess. But I was actually raised in a certain degree of dealing with people's parents and how to conduct myself. But I guess that's what surprised most people when I showed up to their house and I said, hi, I'm dating your daughter. Oh, really? Let me get to know you, the one who's definitely sticking his dick inside her. But yeah, we don't want to talk that way, but it is what it is. Okay, y'all sick motherfuckers. That's what you grew up to. Y'all fuck real quick. So y'all fuck real quick. If you'd like to, we'll pay for the session. I said, no, just taking her to the doctor's office, but thank you. I go there, I sit down, she goes in, and next thing I know, about maybe 10, 15 minutes later, I'm imagining that she introduced the idea that her parents would comp a session and he's waiting outside. Because he opens the door and says, would you like to join us for this session? Melissa says, I said, yeah, there you go. I gave her name. Yeah, sure, I'll join. You have to understand who I am today. And those of you who know who I am today through these videos, or those of you who know who I am from confirmation of these videos because of who you knew in the past, well, let's get on with this. I knew immediately that this motherfucker, look, my mother is pretty much my therapist, my psychiatrist. Okay, so I had been mind-fucked from that day forward, and I learned to cope with it, live with it, and deal with it to a degree, right? So she's not a certified doctor, but hell, she's better than any fucking, after meeting this idiot, she was definitely better than this guy in digging out certain things. But he does his general routine, I guess. I can't really explain it because it's hard to remember everything step. It was so long ago. I just remember I had a session with this fucking idiot, and he tried to poke and prod at me like a coworker would, that you knew was a bit fishy, and they're fishing information out of you. They were told to try to gain something out of you. You could tell by that. That's his job. No, dude, when I saw the fakery of his behavior to me, this is why I said I could play with my own emotions. I was 17 because it was pre-service, about 17 going on 18 going on to sign the contract legally. I was 18 going on to the Navy. Sorry, and then the new year would happen. That's right. Okay. And I said, okay, I'm going to just try to fuck with this guy to a degree. And I'll bring up a story that kind of affects me. And I know I can trigger an emotion and cry. And I forgot what kind of sob story I gave this guy. And, brought to him, now you get who I am. Oh, okay. Well, you could step outside if you like to. So I never even got an evaluation of my behavior. But I'm sure she got an evaluation of my behavior. Okay, to each their own. To each their own. And then things went from where they went. By the way, it wasn't me. I know you're not watching, but it wasn't me who broke your daughter's heart. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I actually asked permission for their daughter's hand in marriage. And I got if you break my daughter's heart, I'll break you speech. Well, I did not break your daughter's heart, but your whore of a daughter broke mine multiple times and even called one of them rape. You understand why even I am desensitized to a degree of certain experiences in your unfortunate lives? I don't care that your daddy did. I don't care that your uncle did, your auntie did, some stranger did. It's not taboo for me. It's open discussion for me. I can talk about it. I don't care how you feel. Would you like to discuss? Because I'm open ears, baby, open mind, and open every fucking thing. I've heard a lot of shit about those subjects. Okay? To a degree, I have been desensitized to the fact that most people just spew stories. It's not a desensitization to a lie or a bullshittery of any situation. It's desensitized to the degree where you need to keep calm when dealing with people and sensitive subjects. You cannot be sensitive to sensitive people on sensitive subjects. They needed a rock. They needed something solid. And at the end of the day, that solid foundation is an emotionless twat that they don't want to talk to anymore because you can't relate to me, you solid-faced motherfucker. Your therapist and your psychiatrist does the same fucking thing, but because he's a doctor or she's a doctor and they got a certificate or they got a degree, you sit there and take it from that piece of shit, but you don't take it from your fucking friends. You don't take it from your fucking family. You don't take general ideological advice from people because they are not certified on papour for anything. The confirmations you potentially receive late in life is when that certified dumb fuck of an individual overly confirms your friends and family's advice. And you end up doing 12 fucking rounds of step-by-step programming to apologize to dickheads you should have never been fucking ignoring in the first place. Did you enjoy your prescription of medication today? Because that's where you are. And you don't want to admit to it, and you don't want to agree to the idea. I'm just one example, I guess. I don't have no prescriptions. I got nothing on mine, but I have knocked on the door of people who had them, and I asked questions, and I ended up experimenting certain things at certain degrees. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do have an experience to relate to and with of multiple times and multiple usages and multiple occasions of. I also have many people that I have openly discussed with under certain influential factors even. Like I said, for some reason, I know how to break down walls and barriers, and sensitive subjects all of a sudden become easy for them to talk about and discuss with me. I can't explain it. I don't care to explain it. I just know, don't think, I know it happens, and I have thoughts about them. And many, many coincidentally unified thoughts. 1 + 1 into a motherfucking 2. And that's just how I see things. That is how I see things. And my brain monitors all choice of words from the moment you tell your story one moment to the moment you tell your same story 6 years later, if we are friends or whatever that long, or how you tell that story 5 minutes later to a whole nother group of friends that just showed up to the party. You're telling the same fucking story you just told, but there was a whole bunch of details you either threw in or put in or threw out. Well, wait a minute, jerk off. I pay attention. I pay attention to those things, and I've even paid attention to your same story when I was away from you in the corner of the room with my own drink and conversation somewhere else. In a loud party full of music, Huh? Yeah, I've been there and I've done that, and I've heard the bullshittery of my friends talk one story one way and another story another way, because Junior deserves one story and Marianne deserves the same story a different way. I'm trying to get into Marianne's. I can't tell her about how I fucked some pussy. I can tell her how I want to fuck her pussy, but I can tell you how I want to fuck all pussy. Keep relating conversations your own fucking way. You sick fucking taboo freaks. And that's how you'll unite in society. You'll unite in secrecy. Silent confirmations amongst each other's winks, body language. And most of us understand what to look for in people who've had prior prescriptions in the past, because there is a human behavior to them. But you don't want to disclose that information. That's you need to be certified to know. And anybody else who exposes it without this certification is just full of shit. Motherfucker. Okay. Well, then I'm just a full of shit motherfucker that's brought to you at least 58 minutes worth of crap. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me this week at the Laughing Lamp Salty Coke Conversation Session number 15. I'm your host, Jin of The Lamp. I hope I was your interviewer tonight. Take care. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe and be well.